I am Warren, and I need to tell you something that is going to make a lot of people uncomfortable. There is a number floating around this country like some kind of sacred promise. $100,000 a year. People treat it like a finish line. They treat it like a golden ticket. They think once they cross that line, the struggle ends, the anxiety melts away, and they finally get to live. I have watched this delusion grow for 3 decades, and I am telling you right now, it is one of the most dangerous lies in American personal finance. It is not a finish line. It is a trap door. And the people who built the trap, the banks, the credit card companies, the mortgage lenders, and yes, even parts of your own government, they are counting on you falling through it. They are counting on you being so drunk on the celebration of hitting 6 figures that you do not notice them picking your pockets while you pop the champagne. I have been investing for over 60 years. I have seen every kind of financial foolishness you can imagine. I watched people lose everything. In 1987, I watched the dot-com bubble inflate and explode. I watched grown adults with PhDs in mathematics blow up the entire global economy in 2008 with mortgage securities they did not understand. But this quiet, slow, grinding destruction of the American middle class, this might be the most insidious scam of all, because it does not look like a scam. It looks like success. Let me give you the math, because the math does not lie, even when everyone else does. In 1995, earning $100,000 a year made you genuinely wealthy. That was country club money. That was private school, 2-car garage, vacation in Europe money. You were in the top tier of American earners, and your purchasing power reflected it. Now, here is the part that should make you furious. $100,000 in 1995, adjusted for inflation, is equivalent to roughly $215,000 in late 2025. Let that sink in. If you are making $100,000 today, and you think you have arrived at the same destination your parents told you about, you are lost. You are not earning 1995 executive money. You are earning the inflation adjusted equivalent of roughly $48,000 in 90s terms. You have a 6-figure title on your pay stub and a 5-figure reality in your refrigerator. The label on the bottle says premium, but the liquid inside is tap water. And here is what really makes me angry. We know this. The data is public. The inflation calculators are free. Anyone with a phone can figure this out in 30 seconds. But we refuse to update our mental map. We are still navigating with a 1995 roadmap in a 2025 economy. And then we act surprised when we end up in a ditch. The entire culture, your parents, your teachers, your HR department, Hollywood, all of them are still selling you a fantasy that expired 20 years ago. They are selling you a floppy disk in a cloud computing world. And every time you chase that $100,000 number as if it means what it used to mean, you are volunteering to be the sucker at the table. I have said it before, and I will say it again. If you have been playing poker for 30 minutes and you do not know who the patsy is, you are the patsy. Well, America, you have been playing this game for 30 years, and the middle class is the patsy. But inflation is just the appetizer. The real meal, the part that should genuinely terrify you, is what happens inside the tax code. Let me describe something I call the middle-class donut hole, and it is one of the cruelest designs in American fiscal policy. When you are poor in this country, the government helps you. You get subsidies. You get tax credits. You get Pell Grants, healthcare, assistance, subsidized childcare. There is a safety net, and regardless of your politics, it exists and it catches people. When you are very wealthy, and I know a thing or two about this, the system also helps you. You have capital gains, tax rates that are lower than income tax rates. You have depreciation schedules that let you write off real estate. You have trusts and estate planning strategies. You have what some people call the borrow, die approach, where you can grow your wealth, borrow against it, and never pay income tax on the gains. I am not saying that is fair. I have actually argued publicly that people like me should pay more, but that is the system as it exists. Now, the middle class, you are stuck in the hole of the donut. You make too much money to qualify for help, and you do not make enough money to rig the game. You are the only group in America that pays full retail price for everything. You are the person at the restaurant who gets no discount, no coupon, no happy hour special. You just pay the menu price, plus the tip, plus the service charge, and then you thank them for the privilege. Let me show you how this works with a real raise, because this is where the cruelty becomes mathematical. Imagine you are making $75,000 and you get promoted to $100,000. That is a $25,000 raise. In your head, you are thinking you just got an extra $2,000 a month. You are already mentally spending it. Maybe a bigger apartment, maybe a nicer car, maybe you can finally start saving. But here is what actually happens. First, your marginal tax rate climbs. You are not just paying more tax. You are paying a higher percentage on every new dollar. That $25,000 is not $25,000 anymore. It might be $17,000 or $18,000 after federal taxes. Then, because your modified adjusted gross income crossed a certain threshold, usually somewhere around $80,000 to $90,000, you lose the student loan interest deduction. The government has decided you are too rich to deduct the interest on the debt they encouraged you to take on when you were 18. So your effective student loan cost just went up by potentially $1,000 or more per year. Not because your loans changed, but because you dared to earn more money. You got punished for succeeding. Then there is the childcare cliff. And this is the one that quietly destroys young families. Many subsidies, childcare assistance programs, and pre-K tax credits phase out as your income rises. In some states, earning an extra $10,000 pushes you out of the bracket for subsidized childcare. Suddenly, your childcare costs jump by $10,000, $12,000, even $15,000 a year because you lost a benefit. Do the math on that. And I love doing math because math does not have an agenda. You earned $10,000 more gross. Taxes took $3,000 of it. Your childcare expenses rose by $15,000. Because you lost the subsidy, you are now $8,000 poorer than you were before the raise. You worked harder, you contributed more, you got promoted, and you are mathematically worse off. That is not a tax code. That is a punishment code. And nobody in Washington is in a hurry to fix it because the middle class does not have lobbyists. You have credit cards. Now, I want to talk about something that makes me particularly irritated because it is a problem that is entirely self-inflicted, and yet almost nobody has the courage to talk about it honestly. It is called lifestyle creep, but I think that name is too gentle. I call it the Conformity Tax, and it is the single largest voluntary wealth destroyer in America. Here is what happens. You hit 6 figures, and suddenly you feel a social obligation. to perform the role of a successful person. You cannot drive the 2012 Honda Civic anymore. You are a director now. You have clients. You have an image to maintain. So you lease the BMW or the Tesla. You cannot stay in the starter apartment. You need the single-family home in the good school district. The bank approves you for a $600,000 mortgage because they measured what you can borrow, not what you can afford. Those are two very different numbers, and the bank knows the difference. But they do not care because they make money on the loan regardless of whether it destroys you. So, you buy the house. The mortgage, property taxes, and insurance run you $4,500 a month. But nobody told you about the phantom costs. The lawn service, the HOA fees, the roof repair, the furniture to fill the empty rooms, the new curtains, because the neighbors have nice curtains. Then, you lease 2 cars for $1,200 a month because you need reliable transport. You sign your kids up for travel soccer, piano lessons, and coding camp because that is what successful parents do in your zip code. Now, let me tell you what happens at the end of the month. After the higher taxes, the lost deductions, the mortgage, the cars, the activities, and the food, the person making $120,000 often has absolutely nothing left. Zero. Sometimes they are running a deficit. They are using credit cards to buy groceries in the last week of the month. Meanwhile, somewhere across town, there is a person making $60,000 who rents a modest apartment for $1,500, drives a used car, and cooks at home. They have no illusions about being rich. They know exactly where they stand, and they are saving $500 a month. They have lower revenue, but higher profit margins. The 6-figure earner is a bloated corporation heading for bankruptcy. The $60,000 earner is a lean, profitable operation. I have spent my entire career evaluating businesses, and I will tell you this. I would rather own the company with lower revenue and high margins than the one with massive revenue and no profit every single time. But people do not think about their personal finances this way, and that is the tragedy. They are so obsessed with the top line number, the salary, that they completely ignore the bottom line, which is what they actually keep. And then come the golden handcuffs. This is the part that should scare you more than anything. You built a lifestyle around your income. You have the mortgage, the leases, the tuition, the subscriptions. Your fixed costs are enormous, and now you are trapped. You might hate your job. You might have a boss who makes your stomach turn every Sunday night. You might dream about starting a business or taking a lower-paying job that actually means something to you. But you cannot. You are a prisoner of your own lifestyle. You have zero optionality. The person making $60,000 with low expenses can quit tomorrow and figure it out. They have a year of runway. They have freedom. The person making $120,000 with high expenses cannot miss a single paycheck without the whole structure collapsing. They are not successful. They are indentured. They traded their freedom for a kitchen island and a 3-car garage. And this brings me to the part that I care about the most, because I am not here just to make you angry. Anger without a plan is just noise. I am here to tell you what I would do, what I have done, and what the math actually supports. There is a hidden cost that nobody puts on your pay stub, and I call it the time tax. When you earn $100,000 in the modern knowledge economy, you are not working 9 to 5. You are always on. The emails at 8 p.m., the Slack messages on Saturday, the mental rehearsal of tomorrow's meeting, while you are trying to eat dinner with your family. And when you are exhausted and time-starved, you start hemorrhaging money. You order $40 of delivery food because you are too drained to boil pasta. You pay someone to clean your house. You subscribe to 5 streaming services to numb yourself after a 14-hour day. A massive chunk of that 6-figure salary is spent medicating the pain of earning the 6-figure salary. You are running in a circle, and the circle is getting smaller. So here is what I would do, and it is so simple that people will dismiss it, which is exactly why it works. Rule number 1. When you get a raise, hide it from yourself. Set up an automatic transfer the day your new salary hits. Every extra dollar goes straight into a low-cost S&P 500 index fund before it ever touches your checking account. If you never see it, you will never spend it. The S&P 500 has returned roughly 10% annually over the last 50 years. If you hide just $1,000 a month from yourself starting at age 30, by 60, you will have over $2 million. That is not magic. That is math. That is the 8th wonder of the world, compound interest, working for you instead of against you. Rule number 2. Live 2 levels below your income. If you make $100,000, live like you make 50. I know that sounds painful, but that gap between what you earn and what you spend is not deprivation. It is freedom. It is the ability to quit the job you hate. It is the ability to survive a layoff without panic. It is the ability to say no. That gap is the most valuable asset you will ever own, and no bank will ever advertise it because they make $0 when you are free. Rule number 3. Stop measuring your life by income and start measuring it by net worth. Income is how fast you run. Wealth is how far you travel. I have known people who earned $500,000 a year and died broke. I have known janitors who earned $40,000 and left millions to charity. The difference was never the paycheck. It was the discipline. Let me leave you with this. The $100,000 dream is dead. Stop mourning it. The new goal is not a bigger salary. The new goal is a wider gap between what comes in and what goes out. The system wants you to consume. The banks want you to borrow. The advertisers want you to upgrade. Your one act of rebellion, the most radical thing you can do in this economy, is to simply refuse. Keep the old car. Keep the small apartment. Invest the difference and let time do the work. Because at the end of the day, the person who wins in this economy is not the one who earns the most. It is the one who keeps the most. And I have been keeping for 60 years. I still live in the same house I bought in 1958 for $1,500. Not because I cannot afford a bigger one, because I never confused the size of my house with the size of my life. Be fearful when others are greedy, and be greedy when others are fearful. Right now, the whole country is greedy for a lifestyle it cannot afford. Maybe it is time to be a little fearful, a little frugal, and a lot smarter. I am Warren, and that is the truth they do not want you to hear.